Okay. Greetings, one and all. Hope y'all doing great. Here we go tonight. Another interesting conversation. Whoa. I'm going to talk about how Africans ruined Pan-Africanism. Rep your city, rep your city. We got a lot of South Carolina in the building. We got New Orleans in the building. We got Greensboro in the house. Everybody on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and Facebook. No, I'm representing Chicago. You know how we do. Shout out to all my new mods that's helping us keep everything rolling over here. We got the city of Miami Lakes in the building with the beautiful and gorgeous April. Ooh, cutie pie. Well, here we go. Always a pleasure, Arnell. You know I love you, baby. With your smart self, getting all them A's and B's. Very few B's and a lot of A's. Okay. Here we go. Come on in, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Shout out to my brother Derek. It was great talking to you last night. Salute to Baby Lane, one of my new moderators. I'm trying to load up on the mods. I'm expecting a lot of traffic this winter. So I'm trying to load up on the mods. Yeah, you're doing so great. You know I'm proud of you. Arnell. Cutie pie. I'm trying to load up on some mods because it might get a little crazy. And people got to work, and my mods might be at work or might be at school or might be taking care of their children. So if I get a lot of them, you know, I got a lot of people to help. Yeah, my good brother Derek, always a pleasure. My brother Quaylen, represent Indianapolis. My brother Derek is, let's just say he's representing the United States. Let's just say that. I can't give those, he don't represent no city right now because he's out there. You understand? Got my brother Quaylen representing Indianapolis. We got Buffalo in the building, doing it big. I got to get to Buffalo, New York. I got to get back up to New York State and check out the other cities. I've only been to Jersey. I really haven't been to Jersey. I just got off the freeway in Jersey, got some gas, and went to New York. New Mexico. I got to go back to New Mexico. New Mexico, I end up going through there to get a little Pacalolo. On my way to LA, after I got my new car in Chicago, me and my oldest son and his mother drove from Chicago back to Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So I got to check out New Mexico. I got a few states I got to really go check out. I got to do my research on the sundown towns. I don't want to be in no sundown town. I don't want to have to hurt nobody. It's a sundown town, but you play with me, it's going to call it Lights Out City. because your light's going to be out. This is this one, okay, only somebody like me could tell this. You have to have some age on you. If you don't have no age on you, you can't talk about this. But it was really the Africans that destroyed Pan-Africanism. That's a fact, right? And I'm going to break it down how. Some of it wasn't intentional, right? But it was the Africans that destroyed Pan-Africanism and ruined it. Yep. You had to have been here. If you're not, wasn't here, it's just certain things you just don't know. History books doesn't cover the little nuances and the little details. You have to have been here. So we're going to talk about that right now. It's a whole bunch. Much respect, SPT. Right now, it's a whole bunch of, FBA, Pan-African, Dr. Small, Cyrus Sudazetti, Tyreek. It's a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get into that. And that's going to be really interesting. They have all type of alleged creatures in Africa. But yeah, FBA is making big, big moves. It's excellent. Everything will pan out in the long run. I don't think we're making enemies. Yeah, Thought feels, well, we want to get our reparations first. And we're definitely mixed. We're definitely mixed. We definitely have some European blood. We definitely have Native American blood. We definitely have African blood. So that's something that a lot of Black Americans don't want to admit. We have mixed blood. Because when a man likes a woman, he gonna be with her. And her lineage could be anything. Okay? Always remember, if you want to think about lineage, always remember men like women, and if we like her, we don't check her lineage. We don't check her lineage. We be with her. We end up sleeping with her. She get pregnant. Many times we don't find the details about her family until after we've been together maybe 36 months, 48 months before we really get into the details. Most of the time when we get with a woman, we find out more recent history, where she worked at, what she recently been through. It takes a little while before we dive into more drawn out information about her. So it's not realistic to believe that these people been breeding and you know who you've been sleeping with. That's not realistic. You know, you don't know your baby's mama, all the details of her lineage. Many times you don't know all the details of your mother's lineage or your father's lineage. So many times you only go back to maybe the grandparents or great-grandparents. You know what I'm saying? Much respect, RTG Global Gang. So we're going to get into it. I was a Pan-African when I was younger. I was a Pan-African. We're going to get into all of that. Hit that like button, share, subscribe. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you support the channel because, without your support, us content creators, we put a lot of time into this be a job, This turns into a real job. But I'm going to bring you one thing. I'm going to bring you all the facts. I'm going to bring you all what really happened historically, recent history, and some older history. But I'm going to tell you all the facts about Pan-Africanism and what really happened with Pan-Africanism. Okay? Yeah, as long as you go back to the 18th something census, you'll get your reparations. But there's brothers and sisters that will find everything for you. I forgot the brother or the sister. There's one sister I'm gonna send my information to, my family information, and she go find all of it. They got people that go into the slave records and find your people. I'm going to get one of them to do that for me next year. To go into the slave records and to go and really go all the way back. I'm gonna gather all the information my parents got, and then that oldest relative we got, I'm gonna have them start with them and go all the way into it. And I want to get all the information that they got because these records are still here because the census kept the records. Also, there's other records. There's titles to the people that bought slaves. That was an actual business. So they actually wrote down, oh, we sold this slave to this person. That's actually written down. That's actually written down. And for people who say there wasn't no slave, there's actually slave ships. But so you got to understand that the Native Americans and some of the black African slaves breeded together. They also fought together. Maybe we'll talk about that some other time. Like they fought together and they actually fought and they actually went to Mexico. And when they came back and tried to fight again, I think they lost that time. But they was doing pretty well, but they got pushed down into Mexico. These were some Native Americans and some African slaves that fought together. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And then me and my cousin, we going to Alabama next year. And so when I go to Alabama, I'm going to go live in Alabama. It's going to get heavy. Can I find our lineage going back to biblical times? I doubt it. In some cases, but specifically no, because it gets to be too many people. That's great. You got to hold on to that stuff and look into that stuff thoroughly. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to talk about this as a young comedic roster. A lot of people get confused because they say, well, bro, you was a comedic roster. You was a Pan-African. What happened? Well, a lot happened. And our Pan-Africanism was a one-sided concept. You know what I'm saying? Could I do a live on our European lineage? I could do a live on our European lineage, but our European lineage is just a European here and a European there. It's not a whole bunch of them. So there's not a whole bunch of Europeans in your lineage. And a lot of times the one that's in there was kind of cool, wasn't a racist. Like on my father's side, there's this one dude he kept talking about. I wish I could remember who he was. And my daddy said he was real cool, but he was married into the family some kind of way. And he was real cool. He was just another person. He wasn't really doing racism. See, a lot of white people wasn't doing racism, just some. Just some. They give you a false concept of racism. They give the racists like everybody was a racist. That's not really realistic. Everybody wasn't no racist. Everybody wasn't on that type of time. And we might touch on that too. But as a young Rasta, you can see I was a Pan African, but we had like limited knowledge, and we didn't know much about. We knew African history, but we didn't know nothing about Africa today, right? Right? So we knew African history, but we didn't know much about Africa today. And so when you hear people talk about African history, that doesn't match what's going on today, because today there is no Pan Africanism in Africa, and there is no Africans in Africa. There's no such thing as Africans. There's not one tribe over in the continent that call themselves Africans. You understand? Doesn't exist. Right? Don't exist. So as a young brother, we had an ideology that didn't exist in Africa. The Pan African ideology that we had in the late 70s and through the 80s and the early 90s was not a realistic ideology in Africa. There is no Pan African ideology in Africa. Still today, there's no Pan African. They take, when they be trying to put Pan Africans in Africa, they be taking revolutionaries that stood up for their country and try to call them Pan Africans, like Kwame Nkrumah and them. They wasn't no Pan Africans. They wasn't Pan Africans. You understand? I said most whites. Yeah, I didn't say most whites is not racist. I said a lot of white. I said whites. Some whites ain't racist. I didn't say most. A lot of whites is not racist. They're not. A lot of whites ain't racist. That's all false. Just some. That's a fact. That's absolute fact. If you think that all whites is racist, that's because you ain't been nowhere. You ain't been nowhere. You ain't met nobody. You live in a box. You haven't been. You ain't been out. You ain't. When you meet a racist person, they represent themselves. They don't represent their race. They just represent themselves. You feel me? They just represent themselves. Yep. These are facts. It's not nothing to debate. I can't debate. I don't know if you got no history or know anything, but it's a fact. There is no group of people on this planet, not one race, that all think the same way. If you think that there's any group on this planet and every one of them think the same way, you live in an imaginary world. There is no group on this planet where everybody thinks the same way. And a racist is not really, you can have a bigot, but racism is a group, a type of, is a racist, right, is different than a bigot. And so that word racism gets misused too. A racist, that gets misconstrued. Like people don't know the difference between a racist and a bigot. Why you think they call it a bigot and why you think they call it racism? I don't know. I don't know, but don't disturb my conversation. I'm about to get you out of here. Okay? Right, these people they haven't tried they haven't been nowhere like that. So the difference between racism and bigot. So now it's no all people, like a lot of people don't even think outside of just their life. It's crazy to think that everybody thinking outside their life. That some people just want to get up, deal with their family and stuff like that. They don't think about stuff like that. For you to think that every person, because they white, they think about color and stuff means you lack any knowledge. You understand? Then you lack knowledge. You ain't been nowhere. Basically, you ain't met nobody. They haven't experienced life. So I can't really say nothing to them. They might be young and you don't know their background. You don't know where they live. You don't know their life experiences. Some black people is intimidated around whites because they bought into that. So Pan Africanism was something that I was being involved in with Pan Africanism. But the reason we was dealing with Pan Africanism is because we didn't know much about Africa. All we knew about Africa is what you could read in a book. You know what I'm saying? And reading about Kwame Nkrumah or reading about them, that's not Africa. That's just reading about one person. That's not an African experience. So studying history about Africa is not really Africa. Because you just studying this brother, so that. You can't study the actual people that live in Ghana. You have to go to Ghana to experience people in Ghana. You have to go to Tanzania and actually live around people in Tanzania. You actually have to come to Chicago, go downtown Chicago, go to different neighborhoods in Chicago before you really know anything about Chicago. You can't just read about an incident here or there and know about anywhere. So why did I say so-called Africans ruined Pan-Africanism? Let's get into it. I was a young Pan-African, and there was a lot of Pan-Africans in the late 70s through the 80s and through the 90s. And a lot of that energy came up out of Jamaica with the reggae music and the Rastafarians. So in America, the strongest Pan-African movement was reggae and Rastas. Other than that, there was no strong Pan-African movement. And the brothers that was foundational Black Americans or Black Americans that had like Pan-African events, guess who always performed and played the music? Reggae artists. So the reggae artist was the musical sound and the look of Pan-Africanism. Now, the movement of Africans to the United States started happening like 75, 74, 75, 76. That's when they really started coming. They wasn't really here in the 60s, and they wasn't really here in the early 70s, right? And so this is real history. So the Africans really started coming to the United States 74, 75, 76, 70, like that. That was the first little wave. Then the bigger wave came like 80, 83, 82, 83. That's when the next big wave came. The first group came, it wasn't a wave, it was just, coming to go to school, really. They wasn't coming to get jobs. They was getting these school type visas. And they was coming into these schools and they was working jobs and going to school. That's the early Africans was coming in 74, 75, 76. So when I got out of high school, my auntie worked for W.F. Printing Company. And I graduated on Saturday, and my mother said, "You going to work Monday with your Aunt Niecy." My Aunt Niecy picked me up Monday. I had a job. That's another thing. They didn't do all that. You need to get a job. You need to do something with yourself. They didn't do that. The old school parents, like, I graduated on Saturday. They had my auntie take me to work Monday. Facts. So that was my first experience with Africans, because a brother named Ben worked there, and like two more Africans worked there. And the brother named Ben, he really liked my auntie, but she didn't like him. But Ben was real cool. He was a cool brother. I think he was from, I forgot where Ben was from, but he was I think he was from maybe Senegal or Ghana. I think he was from Ghana. Because I used to sit and talk to him. He would tell me about they got these forests in Africa. I don't know, they might have cut them down by now, but back then he said they had some forests in Africa that the trees are so tall that it ain't no light on the floor of the forest. And he was telling me that you can't even go in there because won't nobody insure you. If you was a hunter or something, you couldn't get insurance to go into that forest. But this is when the Africans was coming over, right? But Pan-Africanism ain't really popping like that yet. Because Pan-Africanism really didn't pop off until like the 1980. You know what I'm saying? 60s was Black Power, Black is Beautiful, and 80s was Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism wasn't really the 70s, it was the 80s. And so now when Pan-Africanism caught on, it was a concept, but it was mostly coming from reggae in Jamaica. You see what I'm saying? So if you wanted to hear somebody really pushing Africa, only Rastas was pushing Africa, right? But Africans wasn't around like that. So even by the time you got into 82, 83, when Africans would come to like the reggae concerts and stuff, they were still kind of separated. They was just there to sell their art, their sculptures, clothes and cloth. That's all they was there for. They wasn't there for no type of socializing or to push no type of Pan-African nothing. All they know is that we was pro-Africa, so they just wanted to sell us stuff. There was never no type of Pan-African concept ever came from Africans. Never. This is a fact. Anybody will tell you. There was no, all the Pan-African concept came from Black Americans, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Virgin Islanders, those blacks. That's a fact. Anytime you went to African Liberation Day, I saw that's mostly foundational Black Americans through these African Liberation Days. It's an absolute fact. Anybody will tell you. And then we was searching out about Africa. You know what I'm saying? There was no Pan-African Africans. Didn't exist. The Africans still was like separated. They would come to the events, but they wasn't locked down with us. Okay? So the Rastas really grew the most with Pan-Africanism. Reggae and the Rastas. Right? So as the Pan-Africanism starts spreading, you know, like if you go somewhere, you start spreading, you start bumping into people. So if Africans is here and this stuff starts spreading, you're going to start having more intermingling with the Africans, right? So because of the Jamaicans and foundational Black Americans start looking into Pan-Africanism, we start going into the Africans' world. They wasn't really, they would come in our world just to sell, but we start going into their world. We start going into everybody's world. Me especially, this is facts. I'm the king of this. For example, I was driving down the street down by Washington Park. I seen some Black people setting up to have a festival. I pulled over. I said, what's this? They says Belizean Fest. I went and got my reggae and my Pan-African stuff, and I set up at the Belizean Fest. These are facts. I'm one of the original vendors at Black events. There was no such thing as vendors. Listen, I'm giving you the real history. When I started doing this, in like the early 80s and through the 80s, there was no vendors. There was no such thing as vendors. People would just have events. And the Belizean Fest was at Washington Park. Anybody in Chicago, I was the first vendor there. There was not even no Belizean vendors. The first year, I bought all my reggae stuff and my Pan-African stuff and made a lot of money. The second year, I had bought some Belizean stuff, Belizean flags, Belizean stickers, right? I made more money. The third year, the Belizeans started coming, and they had more Belizean stuff than me, so I couldn't compete because they was getting stuff Belizean. They was getting covers, steering wheel covers. I couldn't get all that stuff, so I had to stop going because I couldn't make no more money because they just took over, right? Fact, the first Belizeans I met was in LA. This is facts. And I went to the Belizean Fest, that's like 1990, 91. Facts. But the first Belizean I met was in LA, a band called Bamiki Bandula. Bamiki Bandula. These is all facts. Right, hold on. Bamiki Bandula was a Belizean reggae band in LA. I got the brother's picture, but I don't know if I converted it over. I don't think I converted it over to a PDF. I need to do that. Right? Hold on. This is real Black history, y'all. So the Belizeans was into it too. The Belizeans was into Pan-Africanism, heavy. The Belizeans was in it. Right? The Belizeans was in it, right? So some of y'all don't know where I'm going, so watch, see what I'm saying and where I'm going. Right? So some of y'all just listen and watch where I'm going because you ain't going where I'm going and you distracted in the audience. They ain't learning. So as time go, my point is that we started going to the African events, but the Africans was not receptive. This was the first sign that the Africans was not Pan-Africans because they never really accepted it. Rastafari did not originate in Africa. Rastafari originated in the Virgin Islands, Jamaica, Dominica, and Trinidad. There's no Rastafari movement in Africa. Emperor Haile Selassie's name is Rastafari. So if you knew what you was talking about, you would have spelled it R-A-S. It's supposed to be a capital T. It's supposed to be R-A-S, capital T. Rastafari is Haile Selassie's name, not a movement. And Ethiopia was not Rastafarian. They was Orthodox Christians. Please don't come over here with no false information. Okay? That's false information. There was no Rasta movement in no doggone Africa. What? This is why y'all should be quiet when you're on another brother's page. Have respect and don't try to teach on top of no brother. Y'all be bogus with that. You out of line with that. You see me talking. Just be quiet. That's all. That's all. Just be quiet. Haile Selassie was not a Rastafarian, bruh. See what I'm saying? Haile Selassie ain't no Rastafarian, bro. What is you talking about? What? See? Somebody put him on timeout, put Playboy on timeout till tomorrow. I got mods. Put him on timeout till tomorrow. Get him out of here tonight. Don't let him come back. Yeah, put him on timeout till tomorrow. Okay? We don't got time. So the Africans never bought into none of that. So the perfect example, I'll tell you what the brother don't know what he's talking about. When I used to go to events, right? And I used to be a vendor at events, right? Ethiopians would come to the events. Okay? Ethiopians would come to the reggae events because they knew that Rasta was pushing Haile Selassie. And Ethiopians didn't really buy into it. They did, you know what I'm saying? They never bought into it. They would say, why you worship our king? Many Ethiopians hated Haile Selassie. This is facts. So this is the event I would be at. The brother in the middle from the Virgin Islands. The other brother, that's Tabby Diamond from the Mind Eye. He from Jamaica. And then me, I'm from Chicago. These are the people that was pushing it. Right? These are the people that was pushing it. Haile Selassie said, if they say I'm God, who am I to tell them they wrong? He said, who am I to tell them they wrong? That's how he reacted. He said, who am I to tell them they wrong? As a matter of fact, Haile Selassie took my brethren, my teacher, Kojo, and Mortimer Planner on the plane with him to do an expedition in Africa. Yeah. Haile Selassie took my teacher and Mortimer Plano on his plane, and Mortimer went to Ethiopia and Africa and did a report and came back and said Africa is not ready. Told the Jamaican Rastas, Africa is worse than Jamaica. These are facts. Mortimer Plano told the Rastas when he got back on his expedition with Haile Selassie that Africa was not ready and that Africa was worse than Jamaica. For those that want to learn, listen and learn. Those that don't want to learn, please log off. Log off. Because I don't know how you're going to tell me something when I'm really the man that knows this history. And these is all facts. Mortimer Plano was the one right here that walked Emperor Haile Selassie off the plane. Because when Haile Selassie came out the plane, all them Rastas out there, when they laid the red carpet down, the Rastas grabbed the carpet and tore it up and said, His Majesty is God, and they do not want him walking on the carpet that Queen Elizabeth walked on. So when His Majesty got out there and seen them thousands and thousands of men with dreadlocks, he went back in the plane. When he went back on the plane, they got on the radio and called, Mortimer Plano, get down here. This is Mortimer. He went down there, and then he walked His Majesty out. You see the Ethiopian brother, how he looking at all them Rastas? He ain't never seen nothing like that. You see the brother with the hat on, look like a police cap from Chicago? See the brother with the ribbons, the military guy to the left, the first to the left. Look at his face. He never seen nothing like that, right? Right? He never seen nothing like that. So Mortimer and Cudjoe end up going back on the expedition with His Majesty. Okay? This man here with His Majesty and my teacher right here end up going. That's how my teacher ended up in England. Okay? This is the real history. You ain't gonna get this nowhere. So when I'm talking stuff like this, listen so you learn something. So Mortimer and my teacher, Roscoe Brown, they went, and Mortimer, they went on the expedition. Right? It came to the United States. It came to Chicago at around the same time it was starting in the Caribbean. You had a movement in Chicago. I'll go get all that information and talk about it. I talked about it once, but I don't want to misquote nothing. But yeah, you had a Rasta movement in Chicago too. Because when they had the war in Ethiopia, then black men were signing up to go to fight in Ethiopia. And you know, His Majesty's pilot was from the United States, the Black Eagle, either Illinois or Indiana. I'm gonna get the exact fact, but yeah, a men went over here to fight over the fight high side. That was the first connection. That was the first connection. And like Rasta was like a spontaneous birth. You had some brothers up in the hills that had like the dreads. Then you had some other brothers that wore all black that quoted the Bible. And then you had Garveyites. And when Marcus Garvey said, look to the east where a black king shall be crowned, for the day of redemption is near, when Haile Selassie got crowned, then these old school Garveyites and these brothers with the dreads, they said, that's him. That's the fulfillment of what Marcus Garvey's prophecy. So when they seen these two black people, after Marcus Garvey said, look to the east where black king should be crowned, and then this black man got crowned the King of Kings with his black wife, they said, that's him. That's how it spontaneous just grew. And that's when them three groups kind of mingled into one. Those holy men that wore black, that read the Bible all the time, they was in Trinidad, the Virgin Islands, Jamaica. Then you had these roots dudes that had escaped from slavery that just had wild hair. They wasn't yet Rastas yet. And then you had Garveyites. And when you mix the Garveyites with these brothers, with them holy brothers, that was a spontaneous combustion that created Rasta, because they started saying Jah Rastafari, right? Because his name was Rastafari. A Ras is a king. When he got crowned, that's when he became Emperor Haile Selassie the first. All right? You got it? Okay, so let's get back to the conversation. I'm not going to answer too many questions. It's going to take us too far from the topic. But through all of this, the Africans never bought in. So the Africans never bought in. So then certain brethren, because they had picked up this Pan-African ideology, by the time you get to the 80s, brothers and sisters start going to Africa. But when brothers and sisters went to Africa, the Africans wasn't Pan-Africans. In some cases, the Africans didn't even like the brothers and sisters. And then that's when they first started finding out the Africans wasn't even Africans. So when they went to Kenya, they found out they're not Africans, they Kenyans, and they different types of Kenyans. Right? Here in America, the Africans was coming, but they wasn't getting involved with the Pan-African movement. Brothers and sisters was going to Africa and having a bad experience. The Rastas went to Shashamani, and the Ethiopian Aroma tribe fought against them, hated on them, they had to leave. There used to be a lot of Rastas in Ethiopia. They all left. So over time, we found out that foundational Black Americans, Trinidadians, dudes from St. Croix, beliefs, we was more African than the Africans. That the Africans wasn't African. They wasn't standing on nothing. The West was standing on it harder than they was. The Nigerians was coming over here. They wasn't involved with no type of pro-Black nothing. The Ghanaians was coming over here. They wasn't involved in no pro-Black nothing. The only ones was a little involved was the Senegalese. A few Rasta brothers from Senegal. Other than that, the Africans never linked in with the pro-Black movement and the Pan-African movement. So how can people keep being Pan-African if the Africans ain't Pan-Africans? So as the Pan-Africans over here found out that the Africans wasn't Pan-Africans, the Africans began to destroy Pan-Africanism. Because who's going to be a Pan-African if the African ain't no Pan-African? Africans ain't Pan-Africans. That's why Sarah Soon said he bogus, because he know Africans ain't Pan-Africans. They not Pan-Africans. How can you push Pan-Africanism if Africans ain't Pan-African? Yeah, the Africans wasn't even Africans, and they wasn't interested in Pan-Africanism, right? Because look, some of y'all all over the place. Listen, Pan-Africanism is about unity, right? Of Black people all over the world pushing for Africa. As we started getting involved with Africa, we found out Africans didn't like Africans. We found out Ethiopians don't like Eritreans. Nigerians don't like nobody. Nobody don't like Nigerians. Ghanaians don't mess with Senegalese. Senegalese don't mess with Ghanaians. They're not unified. They're not unified. There is no Pan-Africanism in Africa. Doesn't exist. Now we're going to take a break. And let me give a little respect to some of the soldiers that really lost their life fighting in Africa. All right, we're going to finish. So with that going on, how can you, because this ain't no hating none. People come over here saying crazy stuff. I'm just breaking down that when that's going on, how could you maintain Pan-Africanism when Pan-Africanism is a concept, and then people in America and Caribbean stuff see that Africa don't live by the concept? And it's Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism has no way to make it unless it makes it in Africa first. You cannot push Pan-Africanism on Africa. Africa got to be the headquarters of it, and it's not. The Africans never accepted Pan-Africanism. The Africans don't accept no type of unity. Africa's huge. I got somebody talking about blocks. Africa's huge with a lot of different tribes. You understand? So I'm not criticizing the Africans. I'm giving you the history on why Pan-Africanism was ruined by the Africans, because the Africans don't get along. And so how could they accept Pan-Africanism when they don't like each other? Ethiopians don't like each other. Nigerians don't like Nigerians. So if you're selling people this unified mentality and then they look over there, it don't match. So there's not going to be no encouragement to push Pan-Africanism. They never bought into it. They leaders are puppets for different governments. How can they be Pan-Africans when they bowing down to the Chinese, bowing down to the Americans, bowing down to the Russians, bowing down to the British, to the French. They're bought and paid for. How could you push Pan-Africanism, right? How can you push Pan-Africanism when you speak French? Right? Keep thought fields quiet. They doing too much and interrupting me. Put them on timeout till tomorrow. Thought fields. They're interrupting me. Okay. And some of these people are very rude. Don't have no respect when a brother's talking, trying to drop stuff. They want to come and overtype me. So if I got mods, thoughts field, put them on timeout till tomorrow. Get them out of there. Get them out of here. It's too much. Doing too much. They're doing too much. They just want to talk on top of me, which proves my point. How could you have any type of unity when you got people like that, right? That ain't got not respectful, want to overtype while you talking. You understand? So even on the small level, you can see a lack of unity, respect, dignity, royalty doesn't exist. How you gonna have all this make believe stuff? You don't even have yourself together on the small level. So Marge, put the thoughts field on timeout till tomorrow. You understand? I don't got time. I'm not dealing with all that. Let me see anybody else got to go. We're going to get you out of here if you don't want to listen. You don't want to listen, get out. This is what people want to listen. If you want to listen, you got all the answers, get out. If you got all the answers, you go somewhere. I don't even know why you clicked on it if you already know all the answers. If you know all the answers, get out. Well, this the whole thing. Not only was there no unity over there was no unity between Jamaicans and Trinidadians, between Virgin Islanders and Jamaicans. So there was no Rasta unity either. There was no unity for the smaller black populations. There's gangs in America. There's gangs in LA. There's gangs. So there's no unity in America. There's no unity in the Caribbean. So if Africa got the most people and they don't set the example, right? You understand? Africa would be the ones that would have to set the example of unity for the rest of us. It's only 50 million Black Americans. We can't set no example for 900 million Africans. 50 million cannot set an example for 980 million. A small island like Jamaica cannot set an example for 980 million Black Africans. So unless the Africans set the example for the rest of the diaspora, there's just no hope. We can't fix Africa. Period. We can't fix Africa. We only 50 million. There's 50 million Blacks in Ghana. Nigeria got 200 million Blacks. 4 times of our Black population. So if you have a situation and we're over here and we got issues and we can't fix that, we got to cut them off and worry about ourselves. We can't worry about Africa. Africa is canceled in our world. We're not going to waste time waiting on Africans. Period. While we over here got to deal with all type of racism, economic, we got to eat every day over here. We're not getting any food from Africa. Africa ain't sending us no jewelry, no gold. They got all the gold and diamonds. We're not getting none of it. We're not getting no cola nuts. We're not getting no cocoa. We can't open chocolate. We can't sell chocolate. We're not getting no coffee from Ethiopia. What are we getting from Africa? Nothing. But Africa's got everything that could take care of the rest of the diaspora. Am I right or am I wrong? Africa's got the natural resources where everybody could come up. And they're not doing it. And so I speak for Foundational Black Americans. We're not taking responsibility for no 980 million blacks, and we only 50 million. We're not doing that. Period. We're not doing it. Sarah Soonseti is beating a dead horse. Okay? He can't do nothing for Africa. He just talking and wasting time instead of concentrating on what we got to do here. You understand? We have to concentrate on what we have to do here. We can't even concentrate a whole lot on the haters we got here. We need to be concentrating on getting together and doing what we got to do. Concentrating on hate, don't put no food on the table. Don't put no money in your pocket. It's cool to acknowledge who don't mess with us, but how long we going to do that? We need to get together and get some money, build some industry, get some security, some weapons. We need to be why are we not manufacturing guns? Why we don't have the new pistol in the gun store, the new rifles in the gun store, the shotguns in the gun store? That's a legal business. You can't get nothing from there. Ain't nobody got to order nothing from you. If you the big homie, send it. I'm not ordering nothing from them. What's your name? Truth Magnificent? We shouldn't have to order nothing from Africa. Africa should be sending us stuff, and then we sell it. Then we send them the money and buy some more. If Africa can't send us nothing, what's the purpose of honoring Pan-Africanism? If the big homie ain't about nothing. If the big homie can't put you on, what good is it? Why would we honor Africa as the big homie and they can't send us nothing? And what's your name? You don't know what I'm talking about, Truth Magnificent. That's why people like you need to be quiet and talk. The presidents in Africa can come to the United States and use their diplomacy, right? And use their diplomacy to put us in business. That's a fact. Not one president comes over here and talk about doing anything for us. How you going to say Trump bullying you and you a punk and you don't come tell Trump? We getting ready to send our people this and that and that and that. We getting ready to send our people this and that and that and that. It's that simple. So, okay, you say they can't do it. All right. You say, bro, they can't do that. All right. So why deal with Pan-Africanism? If the big homie don't control their natural resources, why should we deal with Pan-Africanism? It's a simple question. Then how can Pan-Africanism benefit us when the Africans can't Pan or Africanism? They can't do neither one. So what's the purpose in us dealing with Africa if Africa's weak like that? So we supposed to concentrate on nobody can't get nothing done? Because one minute you're saying be Pan-African, mess with them. The next minute you say they can't do nothing. Well, if they can't do nothing, mess with them for what? We ain't talking about ordering bar. We talk about business. We ain't talking about nobody ordering a cup. We talking about business. The French ain't ordering nothing. They coming and taking it to represent their country. The French ain't got to order. The French ain't nobody. You think them other people ordering gold from Africa? Y'all think the Chinese is ordering gold from Africa? Y'all think the Chinese is ordering all that stuff, wood and all that stuff they taking from Ethiopia and East Africa? All them trees they cutting down in God, you think they ordering that? They're not ordering that. They taking it. So you think Hershey and Nestle is ordering chocolate? A couple little boxes of chocolate? That's not business. Just the fact that brother say order it, show you he don't know nothing about no business. We talk about international trade, not ordering nothing online, nothing like that. No little dibby stuff. That ain't no money. We ain't talking about that. That ain't no money. That ain't what we talking about. We talk about big international trade. Not no brother ordering no couple Coca-Cola nuts. How much candy you gonna be able to make with that? Are the Chinese ordering all this stuff that they get in America from China? No, the Chinese are sending that stuff. That stuff is at the docks. They putting it in big wholesale buildings, and then the Chinese go to the wholesale buildings and buy it. Tell me I'm lying. If you go to any of these Chinese shops and you see all this cocoa butter and stuff they got, they not ordering this. This is coming across on barges and on big planes, and it's going to Chinese warehouses, and then the Chinese go right to the warehouse and buy it. Facts. They don't got to order it from Africa. The Chinese government sending it to them, stocking it up, and then you know where to go buy it at. And then you go buy what you need. 1 boxes, he buy 10 boxes, he buy 20 boxes, and then you grow like that. They ain't got to order each little box from China. China's sending barges full of that stuff, planes full of it. And so are the Koreans. You think them Korean nail shops and hair shops is ordering that stuff from Korea? No. They picking that stuff up at warehouses. The Koreans sending millions of dollars of that stuff. Then you go to the warehouse and get it. You don't got to place no little order to Korea. Rasta ain't nothing in the Congo. Y'all just be talking. Be quiet and listen. Them people coming across that border into the Congo doing people dirty. Man, them people coming across that border into the Congo and doing people dirty. If you don't know what you're talking about, please be quiet over here. Just be quiet. Let me do the talking. Just be quiet. I ain't gonna keep saying that. Be quiet. Let me do the talking. Don't try to talk on top of me, because most times you don't know what the hell you're talking about, okay? Not at all. The Congo, this Congo, man, listen. Y'all need to stop. The Congo, The Congo got warriors coming over from Uganda, laying them down. They sending soldiers from Uganda over there. You know, that tribe ran from Uganda and went to the Congo. They still beefing. Y'all don't know nothing about the war in Uganda, right? That's why you got shh, zip it. If you don't know nothing about that big tribal war in Uganda where all them lives got lost and half of them people went to the Congo, they still beefing. They still sending militia. Exactly. They still sending militia across that border into the Congo. The Congo is dangerous as hell. The Congo is dangerous. Why them Pan-Africans ain't teaching y'all nothing? See what I'm saying? See what I'm trying to tell you? Pan-Africans is worthless. Because you're supposed to know the Congo is a hellhole. That's the Congo. The refugee situation in the Congo, man, listen. Man, listen. The refugee situation in the Congo will make you cry. Them people living in the mud over there. Man, them people living in the mud. Them people living in the mud. Listen, we're going to take another break and we're going to finish. But the Congo, what y'all know about the Congo? The Congo is horrible. Horrible. Let's take a break. Let me give some more respect to the brothers. Right? So this is the Congo, how they got them over there. So that's the Congo, how they got them over there, right? In a messed up situation, right? Did you see the big collapse last week? Well, a whole bunch of this stuff fell in. Ain't no telling how many people passed away. So when you bring it up to where we at now we in a situation where blacks have left Africa, got some education in Europe and different places. So we're in a situation where we're moving up in Black America. We're moving up in these positions. So in order to keep us down, now the powers that be over here, right? What they want to do now is go get cheaper labor. They want to get cheap labor from India, cheap labor for Africa, and deny us opportunity and bring in somebody to do the job cheaper that can't do nothing. They can kick them out. They can still stay on top and keep us down. So they're using Africans now to undermine our progress. Bring them in from Nigeria. Bring them in from Africa. A job that they would give you for 170,000, give it to them for 90,000 or 110,000. Undermine you, keep foundational Black Americans from being a competition with white Americans, bring this part-time labor force in, use them up, and kick them out. So we lose and they lose. So Pan-Africanism is out of here because now Africans is ops. They opposition. They are puppets of the European system in America to keep us down. Facts. They puppets. They are puppets to keep us down. That's what they are. Puppets to keep us down. And that's an absolute fact. They're being used against us. All in Hollywood. They go hire these Black British actors and stuff and pay them less than they'll pay a Denzel or something. Have them come over here and play our heroes. They come over here and play, our heroes for less money. The one Black British dude, look how they put him in there and give him all that money for them roles and pay him less. Pay him less, undermine us. So they use Africans now to undermine us. Yeah. And then they got a bad attitude. How could you have Pan-Africanism when Africans don't even mess with us here in the United States? Why would I go to Africa? Ethiopians don't mess with you. Nigerians don't mess with you. Africans don't deal with us. They turn their nose up at us in our land. It's a fact. They come over here and turn their nose up at us over here. What young Black American want them to go to Africa? Why would any young Black American take up Pan-Africanism when they got no relationship with the Africans and the Africans don't like them? Show me where the Ethiopians came over here and really got involved with the Rastas and reggae Marcus Garvey was a Jamaican that pushed Africa. Has Africa rewarded Jamaica at all? And Jamaica is one of the main countries that pushed Africa. Marcus Garvey said Africa for the Africans. All the reggae was pro-African music. Has Africa done anything for black Jamaicans? No. The Chinese went in there and took Jamaica from the Jamaicans. Okay, so then brothers will say, well, bro, you got to understand, they under persecution. They're under colonialism. Okay, if they're under colonialism and they're under persecution, why should we deal with them? You're just saying they can't do nothing. So if they can't do nothing, then Pan-Africanism is dead. Why would I push Pan-Africanism if the Africans is conquered and can't do nothing? Make some sense. If the Africans can't do nothing, there ain't gonna never be no Pan-Africanism. You constantly saying they can't do nothing. So why would I waste my children's time thinking about Africa? You understand? Brothers over here that be pushing Pan-Africans, all of them is lames. When you go and check out a Pan-African's personal life, they lames. They don't be having nothing going for them. They don't. Pan-Africans ain't on nothing. They not doing nothing. The blacks over here getting money is just regular foundational black Americans. All them blacks and all them belief systems, they ain't doing nothing. Yeah, they do. Ethiopians look at you like you stink. They'll smile at you if you go to their restaurant, but other than that, if you ain't spending money in there with them, they the most stuck up Africans in Africa. They straight stuck up. The so-called Africans ruined Pan-Africanism. It has no chance at all. It's going nowhere. It's nothing that any of us want to teach our children. None of us want our children, none of us that practice Pan-Africanism, none of us want our children. I don't want my children dealing with that at all. Period. They need to go get certain schooling, certain education where they can get certain jobs where they could build. They do not need to be dealing with no failing ideology, because Pan-Africanism is a failed ideology. Even one of the Pan-African kings never made it to Africa. He passed away in Europe. He ain't never make it to Africa. He never made it to Africa. We're not teaching none of that to our children. Pan-Africanism is trash and is dead in the water. And anybody still pushing Pan-Africanism is because they trying to hustle African information or got some type of trip going to Africa. They'll talk all that Africa, this and that. Buy my tour. Come take a tour to Africa and take you to some old colonial hotel in Africa. And they making money. They making money. I guarantee you, if you look at Dr. Smalls, he probably got some kind of trip or hotel or something in Africa where he panhandling Africa. Guarantee you. Guarantee you he got some kind of, and then a lot of the Pan-African scholarship, they just don't want all their videos and their scholarship to go to waste. Some brothers talk Pan-African for years and years and years, and then even when they see it failing, they can't turn around and say, well, everything I said is no good now, like me. I'm one of the few that talked about unifying Africa that turn around and say, nah, scratch that. A lot of them don't got the integrity I got. They stuck on stupid. No matter what you pushing, you're supposed to keep your eyes open. And then when you see it ain't right, you're supposed to stand up like a man and say, no, that's not it. We need to change course. But how you going to be a leader, a captain of a ship, and you sailing the ship into a storm and it's calm weather over there, but you done told everybody we got to go this way, and you sail them into a storm because you ain't humble enough to say, nah, y'all, I told you wrong. We going the wrong way. We need to go that way. It take a strong man to say, nah, that what I said, no, cancel that. Cancel what I said. That was wrong. This is what's happening. That's leadership. To constantly sell foundational Black Americans, Pan-Africanism, is traitorous. You're a traitor. You selling your people a dream that never even worked for you. Pan-Africanism never worked for me. I'm 67. I've been doing it since I was 20. It never worked. Why would I keep my pride and keep pushing it to y'all? Yes, I got DNA that traced back to ancient times, but what the hell that got to do with the price of tea in China? We got to make money. My ancestry way back to ancient something ain't nothing. No, he ain't made a dime. Ain't made a dime. We got a foundation of Black Americans. We got to unite and we got to get busy over here. And when it comes to Africa, if they ain't sending no coffee, if they ain't sending no rubber, if they ain't sending no steel, if they ain't sending no cocoa, no coffee, it ain't nothing to talk about. And if they not respecting us on these streets, let Trump throw them out. Why would I care if Trump throw you out if I don't got no relationship with you? What difference do it make when I'm losing? Get them out of here. All the Black immigrants that don't respect us, bye. Get them out of here. You should have respected us in our land, and we would have backed you up. But the fact you kind of our land and got your nose in the air, don't try to be my friend when they throw you out. Bye. Period. Because as far as I'm concerned, we ain't got no friends. Not that I've seen. The Jamaicans wasn't too bad. They wasn't too bad. I cut the Jamaicans some slack. They wasn't too bad. But the rest of them wasn't worth 25 cents. The Jamaicans is the only one I got some respect for. The rest of them ain't worth a nickel to me. There's some nice Ghanaians. I ain't gonna hate. Ghanaians is nice. But they ain't benefit me over here though. You understand? And we don't want nobody over here calling themselves Black, eating off the Black plate, taking food off our table. All the stuff that go to Black, we want it all. We don't want to share nothing for Blacks with no other Blacks. Them days is over. Them days is over. Them days of being friends and all that fake friendship, one-sided friendship, that's over. That's so we're not doing that no more. We're not doing that. Pan-Africanism is gone. The only way you can say Pan-Africans, the Africans got to do it. It's called Pan-Africanism. And guess who got to build it? African. It's crazy how these brothers want black Americans to build something that got the word African in it and don't put no pressure on the Africans. How the Africans ain't the number one people that's supposed to build Pan-Africanism? Do that make sense? Imagine Pan-Chicagoism, but nobody in Chicago mess with it, right? And we tell all of y'all to push Pan-Chicagoism, but don't nobody in Chicago push it. What that sound like? What that sound like? The system can't do nothing because we create our own system. Just like you got your own body, just like you got your own circulation, just like you got your own blood, you got your own body. It's the same way you got your own body when it comes to business and everything else. You build your own system within a system. You build your own system. And this is what foundational Black Americans got to do. Foundational Black Americans got to look at the Chinese over here. See how they build their own system? They got their own Chinatown. They got their own stuff. You see that? You see how they do it? The Chinese is the perfect example. The Chinese coming to this country. They go get Chinatown. They put all their stuff and then they build. Then they build. Look. The Chinese come, right? What do? They build their own stuff. They focus and what do? They have a whole community. They have a whole shopping area in Chicago. This is Chicago. And they build. And they provide for their own. What do the Mexicans do? Same thing. Right? The Mexicans do the same thing. They have a whole area. They come. They build up their little area. They have their stores. La this, la phone, this, that, and they build. Mexican. Everywhere you go, they have their whole ethnic look. This is what Sunrise said we need to do. And it's time for foundational Black Americans. When you come to our neighborhood, you need to see Miles Davis, and you need to see jazz, and you need to see rap, and you need to see Black art. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? You have to do for yourself. All this crying nobody else do for you, when you don't do for yourself, that's weak. When you go in our neighborhood, you need to see Black statues and Black paintings and Black art. The Black woman need to do her own hair like your grandmama used to do. My mama used to go to Black beauty shop, foundational Black American beauty shop. Not no Koreans, not no Africans. The Black woman in America need to get that money and do the sister's hair, do the sister's toes, do nails. Raise up your professionalism. Stop letting other races be more professional than you. Well, your Black people say, I don't like going to that Black store because you're not professional. That's what we need to be focusing on, not no Pan-Africanism. We need to be focused on being professional, owning the businesses in our neighborhood, starting security firms to secure the businesses in our neighborhood, and our sons could work on the security firms to make sure nobody don't smash and grab our stores. No, all of that is money that could be made in our neighborhoods for ourselves, period. Just like everybody else do. That's what you young generation, that's what y'all need to be on. That's what y'all need to be on. Go get all these empty stores in our neighborhood and open up a decent business in there. Not no junk. Where's some good soul food, healthy soul food? Raise the bar. You got soul food, but you don't got pork. You don't got all that salt in it. You got soul food that black people can eat and be more healthier and take us into the future. Where's the black vegan restaurants? Where's the black businesses? Why we don't have bowling alleys and skating rinks for our children, our people to go? Why? Why don't we have security forces with old gang members that change their life around, be security, that could go make the gang sit down? Because we got brothers in the neighborhood the gangs would not play with. Facts. Everybody be talking about the gang. It's OGs in the neighborhood. It's old GDs and BDs and Blackstones and Vice Lords in Chicago that young Blackstones and Vice Lords and BDs don't want no smoke. Like myself. They're not going to play with me like that. Not only will they get did dirty, they'll get a violation from the gang. Because if the OGs from the gangs go straight and have decent stuff and you out of line, we put the gang, not only will we lock you up, when you get out, when you go to jail, we'll put the gangs on you in jail too. On GD, on BD, on Vice Lord, on Blackstone, on Four Corner Hustler, we could control our own narrative. We can make these shorties sit down, not only discipline them, but make sure they learn carpentry, plumbing, get lawn services, and rehabilitate the shorties. You either rehabilitate or you get did dirty. Period. There's no negotiation. You go right or it's going to go wrong. Period. And we'll lock you up. Because we got black police officers in the neighborhood. Lock them up. You violating in the black community, we want you to get 20 damn years. Give them 20 years. Then go and give them an early release. Let him do 3-5 years thinking he's going to do 20. Then go say, listen, if you're going to change, we'll let you out. If not, do the whole 20. Yeah, man, I'm going to change. All right, let him out. 3 years. If you mess up again in 3 years, you got to go back and finish this 20. Come into the community and build a community. You can't run around here shooting children, just anybody. Why? Because we don't control our own community. All these big, bad revolutionaries keep talking about Africa, but ain't no big, bad revolutionary on the streets of Detroit, on the streets of Chicago. Where's all that big old general mess in the hood? In the hood, you ain't nothing. You ain't nobody. Man, we don't got time. I don't want to hear nothing about Africa unless they sending us diamonds, coffee, cocoa. If they ain't sending us nothing, there's nothing to talk about. We need to force Africa to step their game up. Where's the natural resources? Why don't black Americans got jewelry stores when black folks is sitting on all the jewelry? They got all the diamonds. They got all the gold. Why we ain't got jewelry stores? Why aren't we selling ourselves wedding rings and jewelry? Why? Why aren't we buying our wives wedding rings from our own people? We need to stop talking about Pan-Africanism and start talking about black business with Africa. What's up with the coffee? What's up with all that cotton? like tiger nuts. Tiger nuts could be the next big milk. Why are we not getting them tiger nuts from Ghana and coming out with that tiger nut milk? Have that stuff in Whole Foods, Sprouts everywhere. We'd be getting rich. Tiger nut milk right now would be bigger than any other plant-based milk. Right now. Right now, tiger nut milk is sweet, it's good. Right now. Why we ain't on that business right there? Why we ain't on this business? Why we ain't got these sticks right here that people be cleaning their teeth with? What they call these things? It's a natural toothbrush. I forgot what they call. The miswax sticks. Why we ain't controlling this business? Huh? Why we don't got these? Why we don't have them? Immigrants mostly do well because we goofies. That's why they do well. They do well because they stick together. It's not because they got access to nothing. They do well because they stick together. That's why. If they didn't stick together, what good is resources if you don't stick together and use them? We got resources too, but we don't stick together. We got resources. Money talk. We can get product from Jamaica. We could get product from Trinidad. We could get product from Brazil. We could get product from Ghana. We could get products. Money talks. Money. But we don't put our money together. Instead of beefing with brothers from Nigeria, foundational Black Americans need to be getting together and having conference meetings and bring in a bunch of Nigerian brothers and say, listen, can y'all get this? Can y'all get that? Instead of Pan-Africanism, let's do pan-business. Why ain't 20 foundational Black Americans sitting down with 20 Nigerians and saying, bruh, if you get it to us. The Nigerians will go make it happen too. And if the government try to block us, then we holler at the government, and then that's determine who we vote for. Are you trying to block us? You out of office. Put somebody in there that's going to go get this, make this business happen for us. Every time somebody run for office, we don't have no demands. That's why we don't get nothing. We don't want anything. And a closed mouth does not get fed. Politics is no good if you don't want nothing. So you ain't even got nothing to bring to the politicians. You can't even go to a politician and say, we want this, because you don't want nothing. You don't want nothing. So I'm not with the beefing with no Africans. I'm just not with Pan-Africanism. Africans ain't dealing with they dealing with money. Nigerians don't give a damn about Pan-Africanism. They doctors, lawyers, they try to get bread, bro. Pan-Africanism is washed up. Nobody want to walk around with no red, black, and green, all that. Boy, we need some money. We need to be hollering in. You know how much natural resources Nigeria got? You know how much natural resources Ghana got? Nobody went to Ghana and asked that president, can he get us that chocolate over here? Why we don't have a chocolate bar when Ghana got all the chocolate? Make it make some sense. And nothing can happen unless you try to make it happen. So one reason it looked like nothing can happen for us because we don't try to make it happen. Anybody in business know I ain't lying. It'll look like it's impossible to do, but it only look like it's impossible to do because you ain't tried it. But once you try it, it opened right up. It opened right up. Everybody can tell you it's possible, it's not going to work. It's only not going to work if you don't try it. When you try it and you put the energy into it, it'll open right up. The Trump administration ain't going to give a damn about us making no money. Trust me on that. After Jim Crow, yeah, but then that's then and this is now. History will cripple you. History will cripple you. A lot of stuff happened to us. Every time I try to bring up business, people bring up Black Wall Street. I'm like, bruh, all right, so what? You just ain't gonna do nothing because of Black Wall Street? What the hell Black Wall Street got to do with 2026? It's 2026. It's 20 now, right now, it's 2026. 2025 is over. Okay. Black Wall Street, Black Small Street. That's old history. Black Wall, them people at Black Wall Street didn't have choppers and all that. We ain't Black Wall Street. Listen, who believe that they can do Black Americans in Chicago like they did Black Wall Street? Y'all believe that? It'll be serious smoke, man. This ain't back then. We got power now. Ain't no big difference like it used to be. It used to be a big difference because you just came out of slavery. They had this, you had now. Hey, man, anybody can have a weapon. Anybody could go to the range. Anybody could defend themselves now, period. And these Black neighborhood Chicago police officers, 2-3 police officers live right on the block. Nobody's scared, okay? So it's like when we going, and it's crazy how you're scared when it's time to elevate and open businesses and all that. You scared. You pick up everything you can't do. But when you talk about Pan-Africanism, you ain't scared. You talk about Pan-Africanism, you don't say, man, they'll wipe out Pan-Africanism out. Nah, you know why? Because Pan-Africanism ain't pushing no agenda. There is no Pan-African agenda. Name it. Put it in the chat. What's the Pan-African agenda? It ain't one. There's no Pan-African agenda. Period. There is none. Marcus Garvey had a dial factory, was opening up factories right here. He wasn't waiting until he went to Africa. He had a dial factory right here. He wasn't like, wait till we get to Africa. Don't nobody want to talk no nationalism and revolution. Revolution is yeah. Don't nobody want to talk about no stupid ass revolution. Bro, nobody want to talk about revolution. You ain't gonna kill nothing, you ain't gonna let nothing die. Nobody wants to hear you, Dorian, talk about revolution because you're not gonna bust a grape, bro. So nobody want to hear revolutionary talk from you. You're not going to do nothing. You're not going to even go out and make the gang sit down that's messing up your neighborhood. So how you a revolutionary when you scared of the gangs? Bro, stop. Don't nobody want to hear no weak ass talk about no damn revolution. Revolutionary talk is for fools. Because revolution is something you do. It ain't nothing you talk about. Let's get that part straight. You don't talk about revolution. You either do it or you don't. So yeah, don't nobody want to hear you talking about revolution. For sure, I don't. Because I don't believe you. It's just talk. And it's police talk. Because for you to come over here and start talking about revolution against the system, it's like you the FBI or something. Because we talking business, and now you talk about armed violence, like the police. Yeah, Dorian, you like the police. Yes, if we had a meeting and you was there, I would make security take you out, and you could never come back to that building because that came all out of left field. See what he started talking? Get him out of here. Put him on timeout till tomorrow. Get him out of here. Get Dorian out of here. Get him 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 out of here. Where's my mods at, man? My mods, what's up with y'all? I got to get more mods. I got all these mods. They be sleep at the wheel. Get him out of here. I got to get him out of here. Okay, let me get him out of here. Get him out of here. You see? The police. You don't know what race he is. Not. Y'all seen that thing where it was a lady? She was posting like she was a black woman. And she was saying all this negative stuff about black men and stuff. They found it was a white lady. It was a white lady posting posts with black women talking against black men and black men talking against black women, and she was white. You understand? Black Wall Street, that was a 50,000 years ago. Nobody give a damn about no damn Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street, nobody cared nothing about Black Wall Street, bro. In no 2025, 2026. We is not going to be bringing up Black Wall Street every time we trying to get some business. That's for cowards, Amari. That's for cowards. Every time you talk about doing business, what about Black Wall Street? They going to get us. That master going to get us. Master going to get us. That's for cowards. If you're scared, go to church. Let me get rid of that too. Yeah, if you're scared, go to church. Every time we talk about doing something, scary people start talking about Black Wall Street. They beat us up last time. I don't think we can do it. I don't think, you know what I'm saying? I don't think we can do it. They beat us up last time. Every time you try to talk about building, they like, but they Black Wall Street, it's gonna fail. Black Wall Street gonna happen again. You know what I'm saying? It's like, get him out of here. Every time, it'd be some kind of male, you don't know who it be on social media, try to plant fear and distract our building. Gonna tell us a reason we can't build. We can't build. Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street gonna happen. Black Wall Street gonna happen. We can't do what Pharaoh said because they're gonna get us because Black Wall Street gonna get us. Black Wall Street, I can't, Pharaoh. I can't do what you say, Pharaoh. I'm scared. Black Wall Street gonna get me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Black Wall Street gonna get me. Bro, if you're okay, get him out of here. Okay? Get him out of here. No cowards allowed. Okay? Yet, you can talk Pan-African all day. You ain't scared. You ain't scared when you talk about Pan-Africanism because Pan-Africanism can't go nowhere. So if we want to build business, you scared about Black Wall Street. Ain't that what General Sarasun said? Ain't he going to protect us? Shots fired. Bro, I need to stop hitting dude. I need to stop. I need to leave Seti alone. I keep hitting him with strings. We can get the general. Can't we get the Mr. the red, black, and green? Can't the Pan-Africans be our security? If we trying to do business, can't the militant Pan-Africans, can't they protect us? Or they all Pan and no African. I don't know. Peter Pan Africans. I call them Peter Pan Africans. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody look. Truth magnificent. All these scary brothers. Every time you try to bring up doing something, yes, Pharaoh said that. Every time you talk about do something, brother's gonna show you how we lost. That's like if you gotta understand the programming. You try to pump black people up. Yeah, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. Brothers like they killed us. They did this. Think about that. Think about that concept when you're trying to hype your people up to do something and brothers start pushing fear. We not weak. That's y'all internet. The little shorties outside, they ready. Them little shorties ain't going like that. That's some of you older, y'all a little washed up. Y'all ain't outside like that. These shorties, we ain't got no Black Wall Street shorties. These shorties shooters. All we got to do is get them in line. Ain't nobody punks like that no more. That's over with. We ain't no Black Wall Street type blacks no more. I don't know why y'all keep bringing that up. Who keep bringing that up? Where they from? Where they from? Where these brothers from that bring that up? They from some scary place, huh? Because ain't this generation, we ain't no Black Wall Street blacks like that. We not them. Why you keep bringing up them blacks with us? We ain't nothing like them. Like fear tactics. You scared, Truth Magnificent? You scary? And who is you? Like, nah, bro, we not doing all that. When we be talking about building this stuff, don't y'all come over here with no fear. And whatever you do, if you come up with fear, don't ever go to prison. Yeah, don't ever go. If you one of these brothers coming over here with fear, stay legal. Don't go to prison. That's all I can tell you. If you got fear in your heart, don't you go to prison. Don't go. Because they could smell fear on you. They can smell it. It don't matter how big you are, how strong you are, it's all about fear. If you got fear, stay on the straight and narrow. Because you're going to get ate like good food if you go to prison, if you're scary like that. And the rest of you brothers, stop bringing up what could go wrong every time we trying to build. Every time we trying to build, stop bringing up what could go wrong, distracting your people from accomplishing great things. Stop trying to scare them and shoot down doing something. It's almost like you like us not doing nothing. Let's not do nothing. We safe if we don't do nothing. That's what you sound like. Let's not do nothing. We safe if we don't do nothing and just stay like this. And black men is missing all across this country already. When you get through talking, they already finding black men in trees already. So what is you talking about being scared? It's already up already. Man, nobody want to hear that. Anybody come over here with weak comments, get them out of here. We pushing strength tonight. We're not pushing no weak. If you're scared, go to church. Don't come over here pushing weakness, because I'm going to start thinking you some kind of insurgent or something. You know what I'm saying? Because there'd be a lot of people in black people business, and they come and post stuff that's not good for us. So you can't trust that these people that's posting is really black people. They could be any kind of people posting this fear. Them could be Russians or anything, bots or anything. Like when they come over here pumping fear, you can't trust them. Anytime you try to pump your people up to do something, it could just be business. And you just telling your daughters, y'all can open up a store. Y'all can do this. And the auntie be like, you got to be careful though. People be breaking in them stores. See, that auntie is pushing Luciferian concepts. She trying to discourage them. So she going to start bringing up everything could go wrong. Somebody have truth. Let me see. Bro, come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. I don't care what you said. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, obviously, I don't want to hear what you say. I don't like it, obviously. Duh. What's your name? Truth Magnificent? Truth Magnificent Wise Intel, 1892. You see what I'm saying? What is all that? And ain't nothing he said magnificent. Anyway, that's what's up with that. Stand strong, right? And don't get fooled with Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is dead in the water. It's not never going nowhere. If it ain't went nowhere all these years, it ain't never going nowhere. And start leaving them type of concepts to the Africans. The word in here is African. Let the Africans, if they want a Pan-Africanism, it's got to come from Africa. We didn't know that back in the day. But now we know. In order for any type of Pan-Africanism to work, it's got to grow in Africa first. It can't grow in the United States and everywhere else, but not in Africa. What type of concept is that? To push Pan-Africanism outside of Africa. You know why they do that? Because the Africans ain't dealing with no Pan-Africanism, because they're not Africans. A Ghanaian is a Ghanaian. He ain't got time to think about Africa. He got to think about the price of gas in Ghana, where he gonna live in Ghana, how he can make money in Ghana. Our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, they got to think about Nigeria. They cannot think about Africa. They have to survive based on Nigeria's politics. You understand? All my brothers and sisters in Africa tell you is what I'm saying is absolutely a fact. They cannot think continental. It's just like when I'm in Chicago, I got to think Chicago first, then U.S. government. I got to think about business in Chicago, jobs in Chicago. How much do the bus cost in Chicago? The bus fare in Chicago ain't got nothing to do with the bus fare in Los Angeles. Property taxes just went up in Chicago by 16%. People is pissed because a lot of the major businesses left, and now they got to try to make the people pay all the taxes where all the big business then ran out. What the hell the United States got to do with that? That's a Chicago problem. And you all got to learn how to tailor in on where the problem is at. And Africans got to tailor in where the problem's at. Africans is living in whatever country, that's what they got to deal with. They cannot deal with Africa. This is a false concept. Pan-Africanism is an unrealistic concept. If you are in Senegal, you got to think about Senegal. You cannot think about Africa. It's crazy. Y'all, you can't put that on our brothers and sisters in Africa. They got to think about the country they in. That's it. So that's why I don't think we should target on the people. We should target on the industry. When you start talking cocoa, now you're not talking about Ghanaians. You're talking about the cocoa business in Ghana. This is how we have to start focusing. What natural resources and products do they have in Nigeria? Focus on that and deal with those industries, not Nigerians, but what industry is in Nigeria, and then deal with that. What industry is in Ethiopia, and deal with that. Ethiopia got a lot of tea and coffee. They consider to have some of the best coffee in the world. Foundational Black Americans, like how Jada Kiss and his daddy got their coffee brand. That's what we need to be looking at. Can we open up coffee shops and get coffee from Ethiopia, coffee from Jamaica, the two Black places that got the best coffee in the world? Like Rasta. Rasta always look towards Ethiopia. Why Rasta don't got Rasta coffee shops with Ethiopian and Jamaican coffee? Why Rasta ain't controlling Jamaican Ethiopia coffee? Why Rasta ain't got a bunch of dispensaries? Rasta been Peter Tosh, legalize it. But now that it's legalized, why Rasta ain't at the top of the business? Because he's too busy talking about back to Africa. And they don't even have to they could have Rasta brand coffee, but they could just have regular coffee and be Rastas. The coffee don't even got to represent that you Rastas. Jewish people don't got Jewish jewelry store. They name it Lazine Jewelry Store. It is. So just because we Rastas and got the coffee, we don't have to name it that. You come up with a nice name for a coffee shop. You just the people running it. You the ones making the moves behind the scenes to get the coffee. You understand? You don't gotta pigeonhole yourself. Look how many stores Jewish people own, and you never know Jews own it. You understand? These are the type of meetings we got to start having. Like, instead of beefing with Nigerians, hey, find some boss Nigerians, have them come to the table, some boss Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, and sit down and say, what can y'all get from Nigeria and how we can distribute it over here? Period. Instead of arguing, I'm foundational Black American. That's the end of that. You Nigerian. You don't want me to tell you you're African. You say you're Nigerian, I respect that. I say I'm foundational Black American, respect that. Now let's move on. Let's move on. What business? You never see nobody talking about this. You never see nobody talking about getting Blacks from different places and doing business. There's always some goofy argument, this one against that one. It is never no business. Jamaica got some of the best coffee in the world. Why are we not getting it? Why are we not getting none of it? What they got in Trinidad, I guarantee you they got something. Everybody using coconut oil. Why foundational Black Americans ain't getting Trinidadian coconut oil, Jamaican coconut oil, African coconut oil? We'll make a fortune. A fortune. Then this is what we got to start thinking. We got to look at each African country, what they got to offer, and start thinking about some import export. That's where we need to be. Pan-Africanism, no. That is no business. There's no money to be made with Pan-Africanism. We don't got 50, 200, another 200 years to try to get Pan-Africanism to work. If it ain't worked since the 30s with Marcus Garvey, it's safe to say it ain't worked. If Pan-Africanism ain't caught on since back then, what that tell you? How long we gonna keep beating a dead horse? Let's move on and get some money. Let's move on and work together on some business. See, one thing is, I see foundational Black Americans beefing with Nigerians. You know why you beefing? Because you ain't talking no business. Talk business to Nigerians and watch how quick their attitude change. They're going to be like, now you're talking. I bet you they won't beef with you if you start talking business. I guarantee you. I guarantee you, if you start talking business, because still as foundational Black Americans, we still got to get some money from somewhere. And then let's say we get reparations. How we going to invest it? If we get reparations, what we going to, some of us going to want to make investments. So you telling me we get reparations, we ain't supposed to holler at Ghana and get that gold? Tell them, G-Rod, if we get our reparations, ain't we supposed to try to talk to the Ghanaian government about gold? The South African government about gold. Although the South African ain't as black as Ghana, I would rather work with Ghana first. When we gonna okay, when we gonna get to like that type of mentality? Because the beefing don't pay no bills. The beef don't pay no bills. Like when we gonna get to some money and into some international business like everybody else do? Know what I'm saying? Would you tell them, G-Rod, we need to get to some business and stuff? You know, Africans coming over here and they're not even thinking that they could do business with us because we ain't showing that. So it's like a sleeping giant, like nobody really thought about it. But when you start putting that on the table, people going to start saying, you know what? My uncle worked with the cotton people in Ethiopia. Ethiopia starts saying, you know, I can get a lot of cotton over here. Nigeria's going to start saying, you know, we got this over here. Ghanaians going to say, we got this. You know what? We do need to become more international business. Everybody just be what you are, but let's do business. Just because I'm foundational Black American don't mean I can't do business. What that got to do with doing business? Matter of fact, we could do better business like that. If yeah, we're not doing religious nuttism over here, bro. Sorry. We're not doing that. Listen, if Africans in Africa accept us as foundational Black Americans, right? And that really become our identity. Do you know how much stuff they can sell in Africa if it's marketed that is made by foundational Black Americans? Do you know how much stuff we can sell labeled as foundational Black Americans, labeled as Nigerian, labeled as Jamaican, labeled as Trinidadians? Bro, I'm talking about doing some business. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about what nobody don't do. I'm talking about what we need to do. It's two different things. It's what we don't do and it's what we need to do. I'm talking about what we need to do. I ain't talking about what we don't do. I ain't talking about the fact we don't mess with each other. I'm saying we need to business wise. I ain't talking about them effing with us. I'm talking about doing business. And everybody gonna do business for the bag. Everybody gonna do business for the money. So when you talk about effing with each other with no money, of course you ain't gonna get along. Now I don't know if you're a boss in the streets or if you're moving and shaking, but we talk about getting money together. That's a whole different song. I ain't talking about being your friend. I'm talking about send me the chocolate, I send you the bread. Period. Everybody ain't got to be involved, just the bosses in all the countries. And then we serve our people and provide jobs for our people. We can provide more jobs in Ghana. We say, listen, man, pay people decent though, bro. We're gonna buy this cocoa from you, but you gotta pay the brothers and sisters decent. We're gonna buy this stuff from you from Nigeria, but y'all can't keep cheating the brothers and sisters. Pay them, bro. And then the brother in Nigeria start paying his people, the word get out. He do the best business. People work for him, getting money. Next thing you know, he like, thank you, Pharaoh, so much. I start paying my people more than we pay. And now I'm the biggest in Nigeria. And all the other businesses paying more. And the whole country look better. So now we can get some demands because I don't like the way they're not paying Africans in Africa. I don't like that. They don't pay them. Pay them. Let's do business and pay the people. Because I'm not finna hate on no Africans that can send me some soursop leaves. Right now, Black Americans, we can get soursop leaves and make $1 billion. Like, you Black people international, y'all need to wake up. Soursop tea in the next 3 to 5 years going to be the biggest selling tea in the world. Trust me. Why we don't control it? Make it make some sense. Why we don't control the soursop leaves? There's herbs and there's different things in Africa that's worth a fortune. As we go more into this plant-based era, Africa got all the plant-based stuff, all of it. All of it. All of it. You suffering from ED, Africa got it. Facts. Would you tell them, G-Rod, you got problems with ED? Africa got whatever it is. These is facts. Cocoa butter, coconut oil, coconut soap. I could go on and on and on and on. Cocoa, coffee, cacao, on and on. Business. Jamaica, same thing. Got all type of stuff down there that we could be doing business. And then in Africa, instead of everybody going to a Pakistani or something to get stuff, we could be sending that stuff to the brothers. Because the Pakistanis and the Indians, like in Ghana, the Pakistanis and the Indians is doing better than the brothers. You know why? Because their country is putting them on. Their country is putting them on. That's why. Their country is putting them on. I'm telling you. And they getting ahead of everybody. Ask somebody. Their countries is putting them on, and they over there in Ghana getting all the money because they working together as Indians. They're getting stuff from India, and they're able to dominate. This is Ghana. Look who there. Look who nice. Look how nice they dress. Look how nice their area is. And if you go right now and you move to Africa and you want to get a lawnmower, you want to get a generator, you're gonna have to go to these people. You understand? Just how went them foreigners come here and get the gas stations. Africa should be able to hook up Black Americans who move over there with cocoa fields and access to open shops the same way. It would be cool to open shops, but international trade would be better. It would be better for the Africans to open their shops in Africa and send the stuff so the Black Americans make shop over here. Because when you go to Africa and you open up a shop, it creates xenophobia. So a perfect example, if anything go wrong over here, all them Arab gas stations and stuff gonna get tore up because they're gonna be looked at as intruders. So to prevent that, send money over there so the Ghanaians and the Nigerians can make their own money in Nigeria and send stuff over here so we can make our own money over here. We won't have to step on each other's feet. Check it out. Tell me, why is where they send all that where all that Nestle and stuff, why are they more famous for chocolate than the place they get it from? Why is Germany, Belgium, and Italy and Switzerland, why are they selling more chocolate than Ghana? Why are they known for the best chocolate? Why are the Belgians known for the best chocolate, but the chocolate come from Ghana? Why ain't Ghana known for the best chocolate? So instead of me going there and trying to open up a chocolate business in Ghana, I'd rather go set up the Ghanaians to open up the chocolate business and make money. I'd rather set my brothers up there to make the money and have the best chocolate. And then they export it to me, and I'm selling the best chocolate in the world, this Ghanaian chocolate. So I can be down on Michigan Avenue claiming that the Ghanaian chocolate is the best chocolate in the world. All the chocolate from Belgium come from Ghana, and I got the chocolate from the source. Come get it from me. This #1 Ghanaian chocolate. I got the #1 Ethiopian coffee. I got this Jamaican coffee. This is how we should be doing business. What the hell I care if it's Jamaican coffee? I'm the one making money. They making money. They making wholesale money. I'm making retail money. It's all love, baby. Why ain't we on that? Why ain't we on that? Like beefing, I ain't trying to do the beefing. I ain't trying to do the beef. We not foundational Black Americans to beef. We foundational Black Americans so that we have a specific identity so we can get our reparations. That's it. All we trying to do is identify that we the people been here. Because once we identify we the people been here, they got to pay us. Because we been here since the country been founded. Pay us. That's all getting lost in the sauce. None of that's being taught to Black immigrants. Black immigrants don't know that foundational Black Americans, we representing that we the ones that been here from the beginning and they cheated us out of our money. The African brothers and sisters should want us to get our money and encourage us when we get our money to invest in them. When y'all get y'all money, right? So Ghanaians should be like, when y'all get y'all money, come buy some of this cocoa. See, Black folks, y'all just gotta change. All Ethiopians should be like, yeah, give foundational Black Americans their money. And when y'all get that money, come buy this coffee. Come buy this tea. Ghana like, come buy this gold. I mean, to me, that's what makes sense. I ain't gonna just think on that. Pan-Africanism, no. Let's start do some pan-businessism. Where's the pan-business? Where's the pan-businessism? Where that's at? Let's get some money. Black people internationally, let's get some money. Okay? We don't need the red. We just need the black and the green, boy. We Black and we need some green. On one side, we could get rid of the red. We could get rid of the red. On my soul, we could get rid of the red. We Black and we need some green. Victory.